Hey everyone, welcome back to the Career Gems podcast with me, Dr. Nuratu. Today's topic is one that affects many of us, including myself in the workplace, but rarely gets a deep dive discussion. And that topic is imposter syndrome. I have had many offline conversations about this with colleagues and friends, and I felt like maybe it's time we discuss it on the podcast. Now, if you've ever felt like you don't belong in your workplace or you're not good enough, like a fraud in your role, or like you're about to be exposed for your lack of expertise or something like that, then you're not alone. A staggering 70% of people experience imposter syndrome at some point in their career journey. This is why it is very important that we keep an open channel of discussion and analyze some of the real life examples to help us better understand and overcome this all too common experience. Now, let's begin by understanding what imposter syndrome is. According to expert psychologists, imposter syndrome can be defined as a persistent, internalized fear of being discovered as a fraud in your job or life. It is characterized by self doubt, feelings of inadequacy, and a persistent belief that your accomplishments are not even real, or that they were due to some sort of luck or deceit. This can often be a debilitating experience, and it can also lead to anxiety, depression, even in some cases, burnout. Now, let's answer the question, who does imposter syndrome usually affect? The truth is, imposter syndrome can affect anyone. It doesn't discriminate based on gender, race, or education level. High achieving individuals are especially susceptible as the fear of being exposed as a fraud can become even more intense as you climb the ladder of success. In fact, some of the most successful people you know may be struggling with imposter syndrome, but you'd never know it from the outside. Now, what causes imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome can be caused by a variety of factors. Research shows that things like lack of confidence, negative self talk, and a tendency to compare ourselves with others. It can also be triggered by a significant change in your life or career, such as a promotion. When you get a promotion that you've always wanted, you usually get this nagging feeling where you start to think, do I even? Usually people want promotions and they ask for them in some cases, right? And then you're handed the promotion that you always thought you deserved. But then an overwhelming feeling of self doubt then consumes you. You start to think, wow, can I really do all the things that I said I would be able to do if I get this promotion? Am I really capable? Is this something that I can follow through with? Or sometimes when you get a new job, you might be consumed by the process of looking for a job, submitting your resume, writing all these cover letters, promising all these wonderful things during the interview, but then you get the job and you start to think, especially when you just meet these new colleagues in a new office, the feeling of self doubt then starts to creep in. If you're not prepared for the new level of responsibility, or if you feel like you're not up to the task, imposter syndrome can quickly set in. Another thing that we really have to think about is how do we overcome imposter syndrome? So now that we've established what imposter syndrome is and how it affects and shows up in our lives or our career, let's talk about how to overcome it. Here are some tips and tricks that can help. I know some of them helped me, and I'm sure someone listening out there would get some sort of relief by practicing some of these things. Number one is practice self-compassion. In the previous episode about setting goals for 2023, I did mention and reiterated the importance of practicing self-compassion. That doesn't just help you achieve your goals, it also helps with imposter syndrome. Try to be kind to yourself and acknowledge that everyone experiences self-doubt and insecurity at some point. That will give you some level of comfort and you'll be able to forgive yourself for the feelings of self-doubt. Reframe your thoughts is my second point. Instead of focusing on your failures and shortcomings, try to reframe your thoughts and focus on your strengths and accomplishments. This is why writing things is important. If you form the habit of writing down your thoughts or writing down the things that you're proud of, that you're able to accomplish, the things that you're good at, what are your strengths and your weaknesses, having that down can be a reference point for when you need to reframe your thoughts of self-doubt or incompetence. Thirdly, surround yourself with a supportive group of people. Your social circle should be one that lifts you up, builds you up, encourages you to do things. This is especially important for me because this helped me and motivated me to come back to speak to you guys on this podcast, right? The group of friends that I have were able to encourage me to continue this journey of sharing knowledge and also discussing with people about their journeys of things like imposter syndrome and also self-doubt and overcoming it, then leading to success, so that you know that you're not alone in having these feelings. Number 4, get organized. This I already just mentioned. Keeping a list of your accomplishments, referring to it when you start to feel like a fraud. Be organized in everything that you do. Have a place for everything, including your thoughts, because your thoughts can overwhelm you. They can run you if you let them run wild, right? So even organizing the way you think and being intentional about redesigning and curating your thought processes can help you with managing imposter syndrome. Number 5, celebrate your successes. Make a point to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may be. You wanted to write a report, or you were tasked with writing a report and you finished it on time. Celebrate that. It might seem very little, but it's an accomplishment. It's something you were able to put your mind towards and you were able to accomplish. So always celebrate your wins, no matter how little or no matter how big they are. They will give you that boost of confidence you need to move forward and be able to accomplish your goal. Number 6, keep learning. Keeping up with your professional development and continuing to grow your skills and knowledge in your field is also something that boosts your confidence and eliminates thoughts of imposter syndrome. When you know that you're qualified, when you know that you have the skill, when you know you have the knowledge, you've gone through the rigorous process of educating yourself and building yourself and developing your skills, then you can always reflect and think, wait a minute, I actually am very capable of doing this. I actually know how to do this. Why am I thinking like this? Come on, me. Snap out of it. You can do this. Number 7, embrace vulnerability. Recognize that being vulnerable is a sign of strength and not a weakness. It also takes courage to admit that you don't know everything, and it opens the door for growth and learning. My favorite quote has always been a Socrates quote that says, "Wisest is she that knows that she doesn't know." Basically, the ability to be humble in your thought process and thinking that you're open to learn more, to absorb more. You're constantly a student in this school of life. That gives you the ability to kind of forgive yourself when you start having feelings of self-doubt. It makes you feel like there's always room for me to learn. There's always room for me to grow. So it takes away some of the pressures you start to put on yourself when the feelings of imposter syndrome start to creep in. And finally, focus on the process, not just the outcome. Instead of focusing solely on the end result, try to enjoy the process and focus on the steps you're taking to get there, right? Life is a journey. Your career is a journey. It's part of your life journey. So be enjoying the process of that journey. Every single step might be different. There will be triumphs, there will be tribulations, there would be stagnation sometimes, but it's all part of the process. Appreciate your process regardless of what it looks like and focusing on it, knowing that there is an end goal and you're working towards that end goal. That also helps with eliminating some of the feelings of imposter and would help you overcome imposter syndrome. If you need more information on how to do this, we can work one-on-one. You can reach out to me through the email and other information in the show notes. And it's okay to struggle with imposter syndrome. It's not a disease. It's just a feeling that you can overcome. With the right tools, support, you can conquer it and become the confident, successful professional you've always wanted to be. Until next time, this is the Career Gems podcast with me, Dr. Nuratu. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and a lot of other podcast streaming services. Some episodes are also available on YouTube. Until next time, bye-bye.